Working on a Fair Isle buffalo plaid toboggan. I am making this for a man, so I'm going to do probably 120 rows. First, I am starting with my brim and lining color. My yarn is coming out of a new skein, so tension is kind of sketchy. You know how it is. I am going behind here because it looks like it didn't pick up that stitch when I first cast it on, but it's early enough in the project that I know if I go behind, for this being the inside of my hat, it'll correct itself. I'm going to move the skein up here, see if that fixes anything. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. I know now most countries that do celebrate have went ahead and celebrated Thanksgiving, so I hope that you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. You got to spend it with family, or you know, just that you got to enjoy the day. One thing's for sure, I'm definitely counting down the days until Christmas. Looks like my assistant has come to check things out. I don't know if you can see his paws over there or not. He's jumped up on the table. You know how it is. Every time you get the yarn out and start working on a project, that's when they want attention. I'm at 20 rows. You know, this is the quickest part of making the hat, but probably the most boring part to watch, so I do apologize for that. Looks like my Addi threw a fit right here last row. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. So this right here didn't catch. As I'm going, I'm just pushing these down. That way I do not have drop stitches. There we go. I'll have to go slower right there for the next couple rows. With this being a double layer project, I'm comfortable doing that because this will be on the inside where you can't see it. So I was going to show you guys making the version of this beanie for a man, but I plan on making it to match with my boyfriend, so I think I'm just going to make mine first just so it's quicker for demonstration purposes. So for like a lady's toboggan, I usually do 60 rows of my lining and brim color, and then 40 of my pattern, and then for a man's, I usually do 70 and then 50. That way it's 20 rows longer and can fit their big their big heads. Sorry, I'm losing my mind. I'm at 40 rows now. And when it gets to the time to work on my Fair Isle, I am going to zoom in, that way you guys can see. I've seen requested on some of my videos that I do like a close-up to show you how I hold the yarn and such things. I'm at 50 rows right now, so now I have 10 more. It'll be nice and quick. Whoa, sorry about that, guys. Woo! My stand's going a little crazy. There we go. I think it has fixed. Oh, now it's saying to rotate the device. Goodness gracious. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see this very well or not. Stupid thing. Okay. I'm going to put my weight back on my stand. My apologies. That's totally on me. I bought this new stand, but it's not working out very well, as you can see. There we go. Zoom it in there since I'm almost to my fair aisle. Maybe that's a little far. There we go. So I'm at 60 rows right here. I'm going to cut my inside color. It's still yelling at me to rotate this. Okay, so you can see here I sketched out my pattern. This blue here is going to be my black. This is my darker red, and then this is my light red. So it's going to be buffalo plaid. So with this being 46 pins, what I have found works best is to do 2 of each one. So I'm going to do 2 rows, 2 pins wide, if that makes any sense. If not, you'll see. I promise. So here's my red that I'm using. It is the color Wine from Big Twist, which is Joann's brand. Of course, you go to film a video and it's all knotted. We love that yarn does that. It's just the best. Okay. Set this up on the table. And we're going to get our black as well. Just plain black, you know, from Big Twist as well. It's not that Big Twist is always my favorite brand of yarn. I am telling you one thing, it always works out very well in the machines. But every year when Joann's puts it on sale, I'll buy like 100 skeins of it, and it'll last me all through the year. So I'm going to start out with black for my pattern. I'm going to do 2 pegs of black. I'm going to set it back here. I'm getting everything situated off camera as well that you can't see. Now I'm going to do 2 pins of red. So right now we're just going to leave our tails in the middle till we get going. As you see, I have the threads going into my hand and I twist them with my fingers. And we're just doing 2 pins of each color. And like I said previously, I am doing this pattern 2 rows in a row, similar. But as you'll see, now this is something that you would use the Centro for over the Addi. I have come to the end here, and that's great. But we have a decision to make, because right here was my 2 I started with black. Right here's 2 red. So I can either have 4 black in a row, which would look kind of funky, or I can just go ahead and switch to red here. Also doesn't look the best, but that just avoids us having that black so much in a row, and I usually put that in the back of my hat. But with the cinch row, you know, you have those extra 2 pins, and it makes this pattern better. I just decided to use my Addi tonight, you know, knit something up, knock the dust off, per se. So now I've come to the end. We have 1 and 1. Great. So we'll look now. We're going to get rid of the black, and everywhere where the black was before, we're going to have our red, and where the red was before, we're going to have the bright red. So instead of cutting it, I'm going to take my skein of black here. I'm going to put it in the middle of my Addi, just out of the way. Of course, I have a big yarn tangle here off screen. I'll put that in the middle too. And now I'm going to take my bright red. This is Big Twist. It is the color Varsity Red. So it's really bright, actually. So, as mentioned previously, everywhere that was red before is going to be black. So we started off with black, so we're starting off with 2 red, and then the bright. And we're going to do this pattern for 2 rows as well. My black's just in the middle chilling. Pull out some more from this red. Oh my goodness, all 3 of my skeins have done this tonight. Absolute craziness. I am telling you what. You'd think that in 2022 we wouldn't have to deal with knotted yarn, but here we are. Here we go. Move this out of the way. So we're starting our second row. See, with the Fair Isle, it's just a matter of twisting. Now, it does take a little while to learn, but once you get the hang of it, there's no stopping you. See, over here our plaid's starting to show. Oh my goodness, I love it. Whoa, almost missed that peg right there, number 35, trying to get away from me. There we go. One, 45, 46. Now, since we've done 2 rows, we're going to take our black out of the middle. And we're going to put our red in the middle. This is not an essential step, but I just do this. That way we're not cutting and having to tie ends together every 2 rows. It just makes the inside of your project cleaner. Alright, so now everywhere that was the bright red is going to be regular red. Let's see. I have to look at my little pattern here. So this is where we just did, this being red and this being the bright. So everywhere that was red is going to be black, and bright is going to be the other red. So we're starting off 2 black. I'm going to leave this red here in the middle. Then we're going to do 2 of the wine, and we're off to the races. Starting our second row here. I do apologize for earlier in the video my stand falling. The cat thought he would be helpful and jumped up on the table, and he ended up knocking it over. So we know that this stand is not cat proof. My yarn's getting a little knotted from where it came out of the skein in a bad way. Okay, we're at 66, which means this was our second row with the black. So I did contradict myself. I'm going to have to cut this because it is so tangled. I hate to do that in the middle of the project, but here we are. We took the black out, and now we're going to get the red here. So with this being cut, it is important. I'm going to go ahead and tie it to my tan inside of here. That way it doesn't get lost. And we're going to tie these 3 tails from the beginning together as well. As you can see over here, our plaid is starting to show. But it's actually going to look different on the outside because these are the colors that are not showing in the stitches. So on the outside, it's going to be the opposite of what we're seeing now. Okay, now everywhere that was black is going to be our wine color. So we're going to do 2 of that, 2 red. Sorry about that. It would help if you kind of are there to see what I'm doing, wouldn't it? Like I said, all of this yarn just came out so tangled tonight. Oh my goodness. It's always luck of the draw, you know. You either get a good skein that you have no issues put up until the end, or you just get an awful tangled mess. And of course, every time I go to film a video or do a live, it's always tangled. Never fails. The good thing with buffalo plaid is we're just repeating the same 2 patterns over and over. So you don't have to keep track of like, oh my goodness, what row am I on? You know, if you just finished your pattern, you're going to do the opposite of what you're doing now. Makes it easier to keep up with. Try to untangle this knot a little bit more. Goodness gracious. There we go. Okay, now since I cut the black, I'm going to cut the red too. Why not? Kind of just ruined what I was doing. Now we're going to go in with the black. Yeah, you know, these machines are great for making a quick and speedy project, but Fair Isle is not for those who have a need for speed, I'm afraid. But it is a super cool technique. Your hats always turn out thicker and warmer, and if nothing else, whoa. Nothing else, you have a cool pattern that you couldn't have accomplished before. There we go. Almost did 3 blacks in a row, guys. That was almost kind of sketchy. Now I'm on my second row. I'm going to tie these 2 ends together. gonna, oh, skein wrapper came off. And rip that, put the black in the middle again. Take our red. There we go. It's supposed to be wine first. See? I'm slipping, guys. Goodness. 2 of this one. And now I need to go back and make sure these 2 stitches here do not drop. Just 1 and 2. Just tucking them back down onto the needle there. Yeah, with Fair Isle, it's always good to take the extra amount of time and make sure your stitches don't drop, because it is a nightmare to try to fish them out. There we go. Now we're in business. I'm really happy with how this plaid is starting to look, guys. Oops. There we go. Now, obviously, we're gonna take our red under here. Make sure we keep this on here. We don't want to lose that stitch. Take out the black. Straighten everything out. There we go. I'm gonna do 2 black now. Second row. So I am at 76 rows now, and to complete this hat, you're gonna need 100, obviously. So there's gonna be 20 different checks in the plaid, and I want to flip this and show you guys what it's starting to look like under here. Let's see. Yeah, so this is what our plaid looks like inside the stitching. Hard to see, but you have to trust the process a little bit. I'm going to tuck this back in, and I'm going to zoom my camera out just a little bit more. Oh, hi guys, thank you for commenting. Whoa. There we go. This thing is so temperamental. Oh my goodness. And I just did the 2 rows with the black, so we're going to tuck this inside. Oh, well, thank you for joining. I have been tucking my skeins inside, but I'm getting far enough now that they're getting in the way of the stitching, so we're going to be tying every time. Since you're just joining, I will tell you a little bit more about our pattern. We are doing buffalo plaid, so this is kind of what I'm going off here. This is the black, this is the dark red, and then that's the light red. And so each one of these is 2 stitches wide and 2 rows tall. Oh, looks like our stitch down here has tried to drop. It's not on the needle, so I'm going to go back a little bit, put it back on. I'm not losing anybody that easy today. We're doing, there we go. After this live is over, if you guys would like to go back and watch it from the beginning, probably in about an hour or 2 it will be uploaded back to my YouTube. Sometimes it's a little temperamental, it takes it a while to upload. It really just depends. Now we're ready for black again, so we're cutting. I'm going to tuck this down here. I'm going to find my black from before, which is right here, and I'm going to tie these 2 together. That way they don't unravel. This would be a lot of work just for our work to unravel. Okay. Now we're going in with black on our first 2 pegs again. Whoa. Stay with me, number 1. All right. There we go. Just go slow, make sure everything lines up. I'll show you guys the underneath of my hand here when I do Fair Isle. So this way, and then I flip. So I'm twisting my hand every time to get that flip in the yarn. It's hard to find the best way, like the best angle to show your techniques sometimes. There are like no good ways to mount your phone that's upside down. They do not like it. And you know, I'd still like to be able to see your guys' comments when I'm live. So it's always a little tricky to figure everything out, but I'm sure we will get through it. I'm at 80 rows, which means I'm officially halfway done with my Fair Isle. I don't know why I do this to myself. I'm tying my black to where I began with it, by the way. With these ends, I always go back and make sure I see the knot. I just don't trust myself. Alright, I almost went in with black again. There we go, it's red. So our first 2 is going to be red, and then varsity. There we go. Most of my hats, when I'm doing like a woman's or a child size, I just do 100 rows. It's a safe number. They stretch, and that's just a number that I'm comfortable with. I know I need 60 for my brim, 40 for my outside, and it works wonderfully. Whoa, I am a little off here. So we're gonna go back and straighten this out. So see right here, I accidentally put my red in the wrong spot. So as I'm going back, I'm tucking this down. Right there. See if I can figure out where I messed up. Okay, we found it. So you see stitch number 5, I accidentally made red, the bright red instead of the dark red. So I'll untwist these guys here. And now 5 and 6 are going to be their correct color. And we're just going really slow. And over here now, where I messed up, as we're going, we're pushing these down to make sure the stitch does not get entirely dropped. That would be really ugly and just terrible for all of us. Let's pull that over the needle there. So there we go. We're going to pull this over the needle as well, because we're not dropping any stitches here. There we go. Good thing I caught that, or that would have looked really bad on my pattern later on. Just when you get in the hang of things is right when you mess up. Alright, we're switching our red for black again. So I'm cutting this red. I'm going to tie it to my red here from the beginning. Now we got the black for our first 2 pegs. And we're rolling. Cutting, going back to red, and now I'm going to tie these 2 before I forget. So as we continue, you will notice, that the Fair Isle here is looking a little slouchy in the back. I promise you 100% that I know what I'm doing. I promise I know what I'm doing. I'm just slipping up a little bit. Okay, there we go. This is the parts that usually get edited out of videos. There we go. $86. So we've done 2 rows. Yay. Hey, I didn't mess it up too bad now, did I, guys? Yeah, you do 100 to 125. Yeah, so you've never twisted the yarn before. It's not too bad. This technique is a little intimidating at first, just because you have a little bit more to manage. You know, I'm not using my yarn feeder. So a lot of people, when they first start Fair Isle, they struggle with tension. You know, you're going to want to keep your tension consistent all the way through your project, because then if you don't, your stitches don't look uniform. It just doesn't look great. But if you notice, I'm only using 1 strand of yarn per needle. So it comes out just like any other project would. You just have a lot more on the inside. If you look on my YouTube channel, I have a bunch of Fair Isle tutorials. I have ones for like different hats with hearts. I have heart stripes and like ombre patterns that are pretty cool, you know, to use up some of that solid color yarn. Everybody loves making hats and headbands out of variegated yarn, but I'm telling you what, sometimes our solid colors just aren't appreciated as much as they should be. Trying to get this under this needle. There we go. Yeah, usually while I'm live, YouTube will notify me when people comment, but it has not been notifying me like it usually does. So I apologize if I'm a little slow to respond to your comment. I'm doing my best. Okay, second row, switching from black to red. I'm excited. The more times I switch, that's the closer I am to finishing. Let's see. There we are. Oh, I'm glad you think it'll be so cute. Definitely when I finish it, I'm going to take it off the loom and show you guys how it turned out. Like I said before, if you're going to try this pattern, I would 100% recommend the Centro over the Addi, because the Addi just does not have enough pins to make this work. If you've been paying very close attention, you'll notice that on pegs 45 and 46, I'm actually only doing, see, that's 45 and 46, 1. So my Fair Isle here is a lot thinner. So my plaid checks, let's see, they're thinner because the Addi does not have enough needles. So I would definitely do the Centro for this pattern, but I just wanted to get my Addi out. I'm kind of a snob and I'll use the Centro sometimes, but the Addi is my go-to. You just can never go wrong. It's just a lot easier to work with, in my opinion. They both serve their purpose though. See, 45 and 46. I'm doing that way. Switching back to black already. Now things are really rolling. Finally getting back in the groove a little bit. And this right here is row 91, so we're almost done, guys. And 45, 46. Yeah, I mean, you don't always need the Centro. Like you said, you only have the Addi. For a while, I did not have a Centro. That's the machine I started out on, and I did not know very much at the time. I was making single layered hats that did not look good, and you know, the end rolls up on it and it's just ugly to look at. And I abused that poor Centro. I ended up sending it back and I said, well, screw it, I'm just going to order the Addi. Now I have the Addi King, I have the Centro, I have the Addi Egg, and I have the 32 pin Centro, which they discontinued, but I think now they have brought it back. I've been seeing it out there again. And then I have 2 Addi Express and a little I-cord machine. So I have a little bit of everything. It just really depends on what mood I'm in as to what I will use. Like I said, you can do this pattern on either one. It'll still look fine. unless you're super OCD, you'll notice that, oh, these checks aren't really the same thickness, but it still turns out okay. It's not going to ruin your hat or anything like that. Whoop, almost lost number 7 there. Get in there, boy. There we go. Yeah, I know in the past on my channel and my YouTube group, not my YouTube group, my Facebook group, I've thrown around the idea of a knit along, which would be great. Requires a little bit of planning, but we could do it. My only concern is I have no idea what kind of speed to do, because when I'm the only one with video on, it's hard to tell, like, if everybody's keeping up or if I'm going too slow, you know what I mean? So I'm still trying to figure out how to do that in a way that would work best for everybody. Before I forget, I'm tying these ends once again. Most important part. Yeah, once I get, like, pretty far in my knitting, I'm having to tuck it up inside. I'm not big about keeping the skeins in the middle anymore. Oh, look at that, guys. It looks so good. Oh my goodness, this is gonna look so good. I'm so excited. Yeah, you could do a bigger square. I mean, you really just have to plan out your pattern with how many needles you have. I am just doing these 2 by 2 because I like the way it looks. That's the fun thing with Fair Isle. You can experiment and do anything that you want. Oh, there we go. I thought about if we do a knit together, setting up like a Zoom meeting or maybe like a video call and have us all on there. I don't know. I still have to work out the details with that. $96. Oh my goodness. We're almost done. We just have one more time doing each pattern. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, I'm inviting you to join my Facebook group. It's called the Addi Queens Videos and More. To join, it does ask you a couple questions. That's just to make sure that everyone that's joining is actually a human and not a robot. You know how it is. We have like almost 4,000 members in our Facebook group. I love seeing everybody's projects, and that's a quicker way to get a hold of me. I don't always check the YouTube comments as much as I probably should. Alright, this is going to be our last 2 rows, so I'm moving my red out of the way here. Oop. Tuck this in here. Almost missed it. Last row. Okay, so now we are done. Usually when I cast off, I only use 1 thread, so I'm just going to keep the red. So I'm cutting my black. And we're just going to move the red out of the way really quick and tie some of these ends together just to ensure that every single one has been tied. Again, that's too much work for your project to unravel. Now, just like with any other project, we're pulling this out of the way. We're doing one row with no yarn. I'm stopping short. We're gonna do a decent little tail here and grab our yarn needle, thread it, and then we're just picking up our stitches. When I pick up my stitches, I usually turn by just grabbing the red ring here, like that. Just makes things a little quicker. Since I'm right-handed, I don't really want to use my left hand to pick up the stitches. It would just be a disaster. And when we cinch up, we're going to be really sure to make sure all the guts are tucked in. I like to call them the guts. The thread from the back of our pattern, because we don't want that hanging out the top of our hat. We'd be looking a little crazy if we did that. Alright, I'm going to hold my finger on this last one just to make sure it doesn't pop off. I don't want to have to go fishing for it. And 46. I'm going to tie this. Move my Addi out of the way for you guys so you can see. So we're pulling tight. I'm just going to tie a little knot in the top. Then we're going to go to our inside here. We're going to pull and we tuck this in as we go to make a nice little circle here. Take our yarn needle from before, take it off of the red here. We're just going to tie ourselves a knot. I'm not as thorough when I tie the knot on the inside because, well, I'll show you. We're going to pull this through. We're going to stretch. Yeah, it looks kind of funny when you stretch it like that. We're going to take our inside and we're going to tuck it clear up in here until we find our other knot. Good. Now we're going to stretch this way a little bit. We're going to take our wine color here, put it back on our yarn needle, and what I'm going to do is go through the very center here, and then I'm going to flip this over and make sure that my needle comes out in the very center in the middle here. So right there. And I'm going to do this a couple of times. Through the center, we want to make sure we come up through the center. It may take 2 or 3 times. Here we go. The center, flip. Oh, I lost my needle. The center there. And then I'm just going to tie these two together here. And just in case I decide to add a pom-pom later, I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail here. That way if I do a pom-pom, I'll have that to tie the threads to. And then when you finish a Fair Isle project, the best thing to do, which I'm doing off camera, is to hit it and shake it and move it around a little bit. It helps your stitches be more uniform. There we go. Move that down. And here we are. Here's our buffalo plaid. I will show you. Where is it at? Right here. This is where it would have been better on a centro because the centro has 2 more pegs. So I didn't have enough pegs to make these too wide because I could either have done 4 here, of this one or done the in-between. So I just did the in-between. But here is our buffalo plaid. I think it looks pretty good. It's going around the hat here. And I'll find a nice, probably brown pom-pom to put on this. And obviously if you want, you can fold up the brim as well. That's all I have for you guys tonight, so I think I will hop off of here. If you have any questions, feel free to put a post or comments in the Facebook group, or the live will probably upload to YouTube within an hour or so. Oh, thanks, Jans. I hope that you get to try this project yourself. It's a lot of fun. So I'm going to hop off of here. I hope that you all have a wonderful evening or day. Happy crafting, everyone.